I look around and I see a 40 to 50-ish% rate of divorce in our country, and I'm sad. I want to get a little personal today, if that's okay. I want to share with you why I'm passionate about marriage, why I do what I do, why I started First Class Marriage, and what I hope to accomplish with it. Hi, I'm Kelly Case, licensed counselor and marriage expert. I take marriages that are broken and unfulfilling and make them first class so that you can love life together. This channel is for you if you want a happier home, but you're just not sure how to get it. Be sure to click that subscribe button so that you can be notified whenever I upload anything new. I'm a girl's girl. I love getting together with my ladies' friends. I like girls' lunches, Bible studies, girls' night out, you name it, I'm probably going to be there. I say yes to a lot of things because I like people, and I love surrounding myself with other women because I live with 3 men, my husband and 2 grown sons. When I'm in these groups of women, they're often talking about their lives as wives and as mothers. And so the topic of marriage comes up often. And I'm really saddened by what I hear. I wish I heard more women talking positively about their husband, talking about how happy they are and how thankful they are for their partner. But instead, I'm typically surrounded by women who are sharing each other's misery at home. For instance, I was out with some girlfriends recently to see a concert, and one of the women said something like, my husband and I were talking about whether or not we would ever want to remarry should something happen to one of us, should one of us die, and I would never remarry if my husband died. And since I didn't know this woman, I assumed that she meant because she just can't imagine ever loving someone like she loves her husband. She can't imagine ever being with anybody else. But she went on to say something like, if I ever get out of this marriage, I don't ever want to see another man. Marriage is horrible and I would never want to do it again. My heart sank. I had to share my truth. So I said, my husband and I have had conversations like this as well. And even though I can't imagine my life with somebody else, depending on my age, I think that I would want to get married again because marriage has actually been the greatest joy in my life next to having my children. If I could have that again, I would want it. Another woman in the car looked at me with her chin on the floor and said, wow, I can't even fathom feeling the way that you do. And the 4th woman in the car was in the midst of a divorce, so I can imagine how she felt. There I was, 1 in 4 that was happily married, 25% satisfaction rate in that car. It's true, marriage can be your greatest joy or it can be your greatest pain in the butt. But no matter what, it does have a significant impact on your daily satisfaction with life. I was at a meeting with a woman on a business-related thing the other day, and she needed to give me a password so that I could log into something on her behalf. And her password was Divorce 2021. I thought to myself, I bet there's a story there, but of course, I didn't find that it was appropriate to ask in this particular situation. But she ended up saying something, I forget exactly what it was, and I said, yeah, I thought maybe there was a story there, but I didn't want to ask. And she said, I'm happy now. That's the story. And she went on to say, do you want to know why divorce is so expensive? She hesitated, and then with a big smile on her face, she said, because it's worth it. You don't have to look far to run into somebody who will echo those sentiments. A lot of people are either miserable in their marriage and or divorcing. What went wrong? I started First Class Marriage because I'm passionate about saving marriages. I was a child of divorce 2 times, and then I was married and divorced myself by age 19. So I had experienced 3 divorces before I was really fully grown. After I got divorced, I hit rock bottom. I didn't want this cycle to continue any longer. I was desperate to understand why people do the things they do and the dynamics of relationships. And I wanted so badly to have the kind of marriage that I saw my grandparents having, or I saw on TV sitcoms, or at least you used to see that on TV sitcoms in the 80s. I knew it was possible. It had to be. And I was determined to figure it out. I wanted to be married. I didn't want to be living my life alone, and I wasn't going to live in sin. But if I was going to get married again, I wanted it to be happily married forever, not married and miserable, chained to someone that I didn't love. I wanted to figure out how to keep marriages not only together, but happy and thriving until death do you part. And so I went to school and I got my bachelor's in psychology and my master's in counseling. I specialized in marriage and family therapy. And I learned a lot in school, but I learned even more through actually being a marriage counselor, from all the people I counseled, from the stacks of books that I read in order to help them, from the thought leaders I was following, and most of all, from my own marriage, my second marriage, where I implemented all of those things that I was learning, and I tested and I tried them until I found the keys to success, the keys to what I call a first-class marriage. There was a time when I believed, I hoped that a happy marriage was possible, and now I know that it is because I've had it for 21 years. Sometimes people hear that and they tell me, oh, that's fantastic. Marriage is hard, and you're doing the work. You're putting in the effort. There it is, that phrase. Marriage is hard. I actually hate that phrase, and I hear it from every marriage expert out there, and I disagree. If they think marriage is hard, then they probably aren't the person that you want to be listening to. Marriage can be hard. It doesn't have to be. It does take work to get to the point of having a first-class marriage, but once you're there, it's really as simple as tending to an already burning fire. I can honestly say that my marriage is not hard at all. It's truly the greatest gift of my life. I love being home. I love being with my husband. I enjoy his company, and I miss him when we're apart for more than a couple of days, even after 21 years. If that's possible for me, someone who came from a childhood filled with divorce and has even been divorced myself, if that's possible for me, it's possible for you. My passion in life, my goal, is to not only help people stay married. It's not that hard to stay married because divorce is expensive, and who really wants to go through all of that process anyway? I don't want you to just stay married. I want you to be happily married, so happily married that you would consider your marriage a first-class marriage, meaning it's in the top 10% of all marriages in history when it comes to your satisfaction, fulfillment, and happiness level in the relationship. It's possible to reach that point. It does take work to get there. It doesn't happen the day that you say I do. It doesn't happen automatically, but it's achievable. And then even though your marriage still needs tending, it's no longer hard. So I figured it out for myself, and I have been figuring out for others ever since. I'm passing along what I have learned and what I've used for myself, and I'm paying it forward to help other people, not only because I want them to find individual happiness, but because I believe that having healthy, happy families is the foundation of American society. The healthier each family unit is, the healthier our nation as a whole will be. I believe that I can improve society one family at a time. Family is under attack and is being destroyed in so many ways through our culture. Let's take feminism, for example. In the Declaration of Feminism, Lehman and Solinger wrote this: "Male society has sold us the idea of marriage. In the past, we women have been afraid to admit that marriage wasn't all it was cracked up to be because it meant we had failed. But now we know it's the institution that has failed us, and we must work to destroy it. The end of the institution of marriage is a necessary condition for the liberation of women." So feminism is something we hear about all the time and is highly pushed. And that's what they're saying. We need to destroy the institution of marriage. Then you've got the LBGTQRSTLUVWXYZ movement, which obviously is seeking to destroy the family because it is impossible to have a healthy, happy family, and it's impossible to reproduce when you have same-sex couples together. So they're completely even redefining what it means to be married, and in some cases making it impossible for people to have children because a lot of transgendered people people who consider themselves transgendered are actually changing their physical body and mutilating their genitals, or mutilating the genitals of children nowadays who say that they are something else. So if that doesn't destroy families, I don't know what does. Then we have pop culture with its glorification of things like adultery and soft porn on every TV show that you watch. We've got public schools and colleges undermining parental authority and our pro-family values. I mean, look around, it's everywhere. The family is being attacked from every angle. I am part of I get these emails from press agents that are looking for experts to come speak on a certain topic or write an article for a certain topic. And I'm always looking for, ones related to marriage so that I can get my word out there. And it's always, everyone that I find about marriage is things like, want to hear from therapists on how to know that your marriage is over. Looking for a therapist to tell us the 5 signs that it's time to divorce. Looking for a therapist to talk about why monogamy is harmful. So I'm like, none of these are something that I'm going to write about. How about we change it to looking for a therapist to talk about 10 ways to communicate better with your spouse. Looking for a therapist to talk about ways to have a great sex life with your married partner. I mean, it's never things that are actually going to promote health and happiness in the home. The requests are always for things that are going to help destroy the family, which I find really interesting. And so therapists are writing in on these topics because they want to get their name out there, even if it means they have to write about that. And so you read magazines or you watch news programs, and the stories you hear always have this negative bent, like how to know that it's over, or how to know that your spouse is cheating. And the reason they have that is because that's the only option given. That's the only choice out there to choose from. If you want to come on a news program or write an article about something, you don't have a choice to write about something that is positive. I want as many first-class marriages as possible, especially marriages with children. My bigger reason for all of this is because I think that we would have a completely different world if more children were coming out of first-class marriage homes instead of broken homes. Children, for the most part, would be much more centered, aligned, less distracted, less emotionally messed up if they came from first-class marriage homes. Now, could someone come from a first-class marriage home and be messed up? Of course, there are always exceptions. A drug addict can come from a good home. But if you look at the statistics, most of the mentally ill, addicted people come from broken homes. And the truth is they're just trying to cope, just trying to deal with all of the hurt and the after effects of the broken life they've had. The more trouble there was in your childhood home, the more trouble that you have to recover from in your adult life. And that can take decades to work through. And it will impact your relationships, and it will impact your marriage in a negative way. So this is carrying on that same cycle. Let's break the cycle. Let's create first-class marriages that produce first-class kids that become first-class adult American citizens who produce a first-class American society. So I want you to have a good marriage, and I want you to find personal happiness. I do. But I've got a bigger picture in mind, and I invite you to become part of my cause. Join me in making the world a better place for all of us. The first step is for you to become a first-class spouse. That's really all you have to do. And one person, one family at a time, will get there. My hope for you is that you will block out all the noise that seeks to destroy your marriage and your family, and instead believe that the best is yet to come. That you'll take the steps necessary to become a first-class spouse, and that you'll work to achieve a first-class marriage. And that through your breaking of the cycle, the world will become a better place. Learn more about how to have a first-class marriage. Visit me at firstclassmarriage.com. And if you liked this video, please hit that like button, leave a comment, or subscribe, because that encourages YouTube to show this content to more people.